lesson for EDSU 530. The standards for it that we'll be covering in the lesson is Social Studies Standard 10.6 and ELD Standard Section 2, Elaboration on Critical Principles for Developing Language and Cognitive Academic Context. Part 1, number 9, Presenting and Expanding and Bridging. It will be for expanding and bridging. And Part 2, Learning How English Works. Number 7, Cognitive Condensing Ideas. So those will be the standards that will be covered in this lesson. It's going to be an intro lesson with pair share and brainstorming. Let us begin. So good morning, class. Today we are going to be continuing to cover World War I. We covered the already start of the war, the going through the war, and now we're covering the aftermath of the end of the war. So let us go further after the end of the war. The past information we've already covered are things such as the life of a soldier, trench warfare, how horrible it was in the trenches, trench foot, the psychological effects of the trench warfare, the massive casualty count, the millions and millions of people that died in this war and were injured and maimed. We've covered that. We've covered how horrid that was, the shell shock, the psychological effects of living in the trenches and fighting in these trenches, and of course how the war ended. I want to show you some images that we've already covered. Some of those images happen to be the images of trenches, the uses of gas in the war, and the fact that there was uses of gas masses, as well as, of course, this was one of the last wars where they used horses, especially the last war in Europe that they used horses. Major injuries, and of course, the end of the war and celebrations that follow. There are some key terms, though, as we go further that we're going to be encountering. So some of these we've already talked about. Some of these are going to be new terms, such as lost generation, isolationism is something we've already heard before, disillusionment, materialism, the jazz age, prohibition. So those are terms I want you guys to be thinking about as we go further beyond this lesson. So on to what we're going to be doing starting today. So today, you guys are going to be put into your usual pairs. You know who those are. And you will first, before you start talking, I want you to brainstorm. I want you to think up ideas, right? Then you will discuss with your partner about how to answer this question. Now the question you're going to be answering is, how did the end of World War I affect people's view of the world? Not just affecting people's view of the war, but of the world as a whole. And finally, after you're done discussing with your partner, you are going to share out what you guys discussed about as the answer. So at this point, I'd give the students about 3 minutes to cover to do brainstorming. I give them about 4 minutes probably to discuss with their partners, depending on how well those discussions are going. I'd walk around and check on them. And then I let them share out. And what I'd be looking for would be answers such as the war affected people's psychology, the war caused people to feel more distrusting of government maybe, or that the war led to more people angry or afraid or alone. So those would be some things I might notice or be looking for as the answers. Thank you again for taking your time to listen to this lesson. Have an awesome rest of your day. Goodbye!